Sometimes as leaders, we need surprises too. All right, welcome everybody. Okay, kind of two parts to tonight's call. One, I'm gonna show you like a new thing that you can use to help grow your team and help new customers and help people want to become builders and things. So yay, that's exciting. And two, we're gonna talk about how to know when to invest in something and when to say, like, pull the plug on investing in something in terms of pouring money into your doTERRA business, and like if you're not getting results or if you are getting results. So we're going to kind of talk about two different things tonight. So the first thing is this is relatively new, so I haven't tried it out, but I have heard really amazing things about setting up a frequently asked questions kind of stagnant Facebook page. So the idea behind this is when somebody new comes on, so this is like, you know, I signed up a customer and they have lots of questions in the beginning. I say, I know you've got lots of questions and you know it's going to be hard for us to really connect. Of course, I'm going to do their wellness consult, but on top of that, they might have other questions that just start to come up, like details about LRP and you know, how do I get started if I wanted to share with my sister or whatever. So kind of questions like that are going to probably come up. And so we've created just this stagnant Facebook page. It's linked to my Facebook page. I'm also going to link it to the Natural Living Facebook page so that if you're in the Natural Living group that you can also find this and be able to just plug people in here really easily. So what this is there's like 20 different posts and people can go on and learn on their own. So there's but there's lots of different types of learners, right? So we have some people that are like, give me everything right now. I want to like just drink it in as much as possible, as quickly as possible. I don't want to wait for oil camp. I don't want to wait for you to like call me back and we do our wellness consult. I don't want to wait for any of that. I just want to go and research on my own. And this is like a really good spot to put those people. The other type of person that this is really good for is the kind of person that wants to learn a whole bunch. So learners or people that want to study it out. This is also good for social proof. So people that maybe are like, I don't know, they can come here and see, okay, there's lots of people involved in this, like they're gonna get some more social proof. So we've got kind of 20 different posts here, and I will just briefly go through and show you what the kinds of things are that we're talking about. So I've got lots of resources posted in here, like just doTERRA catalog and how to get started with their oils and things. But you know, like how to use a veggie cap, how do you order on your LRP. But then we go into like some safety issues, right, that people are going to have questions with, and maybe you don't know all the answers behind that. You can send them here. We've got good videos from professionals. So professionals, I mean like Dr. Hill, right? So that they can kind of plug into good quality resources. And then there's some things like, I want to host a class. How do I get free stuff? So we start to introduce some of like the business stuff. And then we've just got tons of educational videos. So if this, again, if you have a person that's a total binger, this is going to be a great place for them to come. How to redoing points. I mean, literally, you can see there's a ton of different things on here. And I love it. We also do some things like debunking some myths behind, you know, doTERRA stuff, like boys shouldn't use lavender ever, or, you know, it's going to make them get breasts, and just some things like that that are just like, you know. So anyway, each one has a little post. All you have to go in and do, so you can add yourself to the group, you go in, you're going to add the person to the group, and then you can come in here and you can tag them in that little comment section, and it will just tag them on that first one. And then they'll be able to go through, grab the guides for themselves, and start going through each post and learn as much or as little as they want to. But this was just a way to get people information a little bit quicker than if they're waiting for the next oil camp and it doesn't start until the very first of the month. So I wanted to make sure that you guys don't have any questions about that before I move on from that. So you can chat or you can ask questions. What do you guys think? Okay. Isla, are you talking?
Yeah. Is this an email form or is it just on Facebook?
I don't have it in email form. I mean, we could go through and put it in email form. I put Oil Camp in email form, and it's not really being utilized, but maybe I haven't advertised that well enough. But this would, if I put this in one email, it would be like this humongo ginormous email. Like each post could be its own email. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can probably just like save the photos and like attach it to emails if I have to. Like
yeah, and a lot of them are videos and things like that too. So,
but then it would lead them to Facebook, right? I have quite a few people who are not on Facebook.
No, all the videos are separate links off of Facebook. So we've made sure that they're like YouTube videos, so they're not like Facebook Live or something like that. Does that make sense? So it totally could be taken, and you know, you could send a video to somebody else. So
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. The other thing that I wanted to just show you guys is that we also have a public group. I was having a lot of people that were asking, can I have, you know, my sister that's not enrolled, that's bought like one oil from me, or that's interested in learning about essential oils, can I add her to the Oil Tribe group or whatever group, right? And I just am thinking that we need to have a space where we can invite people to just learn more about the oils. The tricky thing is, if it's a public group, so meaning it's open and anyone can join, then we need to just work a little bit more on compliance. But I am planning throughout the year to do a little more education. So I'll probably put some classes together and we'll run them in this group so that we can educate people. And if they want to get oils at the end, obviously I'm just going to tell them, who's ever invited you to this group, go to them and grab oils from them. So, oh, that was cute. Bree, I love it. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that and know that there is a place where you can invite people and have it be somewhere where they're not members yet, where they can get more information. So, all right. We are going to do a new share now. Are there any questions about that group?
I just love the GIF that we are so excited you are here with us.
I know, isn't that fun?
That's like my favorite GIF.
Like this guy freaking out. Okay, we're gonna enable editing really quick, and we're gonna go to slideshow from beginning. Okay, investing in your business, guys. I am a huge proponent of investing in your business. And the amount that you invest back into your business is, of course, always up to you. This is your own business, and so never let anybody tell you how much or how little for you to personally invest. But I want to make sure that we are doing smart investment. That we're not putting money in that really doesn't make sense to put out, all right, or that we're going to get back. So what I mean by that is as you grow grow as a leader, or just you're doing this as a business, I want to bring you to your attention this rule that I learned very early on, and it's the rule of breaking even. So the principle is basically, if you are going to maybe do an event or put money into something and you're going to break even on that, meaning I'm going to put $50 in and I'm going to get $50 back, that's break even. And in doTERRA, if you're going to break even from the beginning, then over the long run, you're probably actually going to earn money even. All right. So what I mean by that is, maybe you do an event, maybe you do a booth, and you think, I could probably, you know, sell retail like $50 worth of oils. and it costs $50 to do the event. So that would probably be a good event to do. So you pay $50, you do $50 in retail. Obviously, you don't always know for sure, right? But you can kind of think in your head, think I could do that. Yeah, that's your break even. And then anything on top of that is just extra gain. So then if you actually enroll somebody that's going to continue to order over time, right? That's just going to be extra gain. Now, I see sometimes that people do things that honestly, it does not make sense in terms of break even. And I see this the majority of the time when we're talking about power of three, and what we call like buy in or buy up for your power of three. So maybe somebody is working to get their $50 bonus and they have two people that have already placed $100 LRP and they've done their $100 LRP, and they just need that third person. So they call up their mom or whoever might have ordered, and maybe their mom ordered $20. So they need another $80 there. And they think, I should place that $80 order because I'm going to get 50 back. Well, guys, that doesn't make sense because you're not breaking even. Does that make sense why that doesn't make sense to do that? So if you have to put $80 in and you're only going to get $50 back, even though you're going to get, you know, $50 of oils, you're still out 30 bucks. So I would say don't do that. Now, here's the flip side. Maybe you're working on getting your $50 bonus, and maybe your mom had put an $80 order in. And so really all you needed was an extra $20 on her account, and then you would get your $50 bonus. So if you go in, place a $20 order, you're going to get, you know, $20 worth of essential oils, but then you're going to get a check for $50. So that more than breaks even. Does that make sense? You guys, I know this seems like, well, duh, but I promise you, I have seen it too many times in my downline or in cross downlines to not bring up this point. Do not place orders on other people's accounts when it does not make sense to do that. Sometimes it makes sense to do that when, you know, it's going to help get you to that next level or that bonus. But if it does not make sense, then you don't do it. Even if it's like you think your upline's counting on it or whatever else. If you've placed your $100 order, you've done your job. And if it's going to make a difference in their business, then you guys can chat about it, but they should be the one placing that order if it's going to make a big enough difference in their check. All right. Hopefully that makes sense and that's clear. If you're thinking about even like Premier, you know, if you're going to hit Premier, it might, and you've already enrolled somebody that month, but you're maybe $50 off from hitting Premier, well, it makes sense to buy that $50 to hit Premier because you're going to get that empowerment bonus for like $150 or $200. So in that case, it would make sense. And I always try to tell people, even calculate in like your shipping and your tax for those things, because you don't want to end up being negative when you're thinking about investing back into your business. So sometimes it's a little bit, you know, it sounds all good on paper, but what are some things that you want to invest in? I really believe investing in people. So I like to give extra tools or materials to people, and I feel like investing in them and investing time in people is never going to be a waste. That will 100% every time make it back. And invest in events. So invest in getting yourself to convention, in getting yourself to leadership if you qualify to go to leadership, or in going to trainings. We've got lots of wellness summits coming up, or regional trainings. Invest in those. Going to events will make a major difference in your business. Invest in those every single time. They will pay out 10 times what they do every single time. I promise you, going to events is a huge, huge benefit. The other thing I recommend is investing in relationships. So really quick, I had sat next to this lady on the airplane and we just totally connected. This was about a year and a half ago. And we connected and I really liked her. And we just like became Facebook friends from sitting next to each other on the airplane, right? And I had given her some peppermint beadlets, and then I just had always commented on her Facebook posts and things. And then I had this idea, it was like around Mother's Day, that I wanted to honor like some mothers that I had connected with on Facebook that I just felt like, you know, were awesome moms, and they inspired me to be a better mom. And she was like this single mom. And so I made up this really cute package, and I said, oh my gosh, I have this little package that I made up for you, and I want to send it to you. And so I got her mailing address. I sent this package off, and obviously this was just investing in a relationship. I just liked her as a person. But in there were like some doTERRA peppermint beadlets because she mentioned how much she loved them. Well, after I had mailed that off to her, she went on and bought like a natural solutions kit, and she's ordered every month since then and just loves the oils. But that was just investing back into a relationship. Sometimes we don't know if it's going to come back to us, but this was a pretty inexpensive, you know, it maybe cost me $5 to mail this off, and it was, you know, doTERRA items and a couple other little things that I had kind of put together. So it really wasn't a huge investment on my part, but I always feel like investing in relationships are key and huge and are never going to be wasted. The other thing that's never going to be a waste is when you invest in yourself in personal development. So if there is an online course that's going to help you become a better person, and you're the type of person that actually follows all the way through with an online course, then invest in that online course. Or if you're the kind of person that needs, you know, some personal mentoring or coaching, invest in that within reason, right? In that personal development. Or invest in good books, invest in Audible, right? And listening to those books. Always invest in yourself. You are never going to miss out or have that be a negative thing. So what I think I wish I would have stopped investing in sooner is things that were costly samples that you guys kind of know I don't really like sampling very much anymore. I think there's still some merit to it occasionally, but for the most part, I don't like sampling out, so I don't super recommend it. I think it can be costly. Tons of swag or things that are just like that latest thing, right, that looks really nice, like a bajillion handouts and all of those things. I don't think you need that stuff. Expensive booths that don't have results. So if you're going to invest more than even just like $100 in a booth, like you're going to go to a vendor event, you should ask them how many people they had at their last vendor event, how many people they expect to have come at this vendor event, what they're doing to advertise for it. Like really get some details so that you know it's going to be a successful event and not just thinking, oh, I'm just going to, you know, it's going to be okay or it's going to be a great event. You should figure out what did they have last year, because that's a really good projection for what they're going to have this year. And then I don't invest in anything where I can't capture those contact information. So I'll give you a couple other examples of things that I invested in that I feel like were a really good payout. So when I did a lot of classes outside of my house, I would contact like yoga studios or chiropractor offices and ask them if I could have a class there. Sometimes they wanted to charge me to host my class there. I would only pay if they would email out to their whole email list that I was doing a class there, because that was grabbing their contacts, right, and being able to play off of that. And that was a good use of my money. Instead of just paying for a location, I was paying for those contacts, if that makes sense. All right. And kind of the last thing is just keeping it really simple. And I feel like even for investment purposes, when I can just say, okay, I'm keeping it really simple. So if you're looking at materials that you want to buy or other things, and I think of my 8-year-old, if he can't explain it, this is a 3rd grader, if he can't explain it, then I don't think we should be doing it. It's too complicated, especially in our kind of our social media world. It's too much. If it takes more than just a few minutes to understand, again, it's too complicated. It should be very simple, really easy to do there. Okay, so that's kind of my spiel on keeping it really simple. And okay, I'm done with my screen share. Oh, there's the button for stop share. So I wanted to open it up and see if we have any questions or anything else around that. And while you think of questions, I'm going to go get water because I'm dying of water in a second.
I can answer any questions.
Holy smoke. Sorry, guys. All right. Maybe that was so thorough. We can have questions about other things too.
That was really good, Brittany. And I like that insight about, and hopefully you guys can hear me. I like that insight about the power of 3 bonus too. And I think that's good for people early on in their business, but also for like upline to hear as well, because I think sometimes we expect our people to buy up to the level that we're buying up, and it just doesn't make sense. Like, we have to keep their income in consideration for, you know, our bonuses. So I totally agree with you in making sure that it makes sense, including taxes and not taxes like annual taxes, but like tax and shipping and things like that. Like, make sure that you're doing all that, because I think we forget really easily, and it's really important to do the math. It does not take long.
Yeah. So Bree, occasionally, not very frequently anymore, but sometimes I still have to buy up for my 1,500. Yeah. So what that looks like for me, guys, is maybe like one person place like an $80 order or whatever. And I take responsibility for that buy up myself personally, and I'm not expecting that person where it's affecting their $50 bonus to go in and do that. I might communicate like, oh my gosh, did you know that you're only, you know, this far away from it? And if it's not affecting my 1,500 and it's, you know, maybe a different leader's 250, you know, I'll chat with them about it and help them, you know, see if that makes sense for them to buy up there or not buy up there. But you want to make sure that it really is like a sound financial decision instead of just putting the money in. Now, on the flip side, Bree, I have seen people that are like, oh, you know, I'm $500 away from my $1,500 bonus, but I won't buy up. And I'm like,
that's a waste.
What the heckity heck? Okay, people, don't do that. If you are $20 from your $50 bonus, you put in that $20 and you get an extra $50 back. You just got $20 worth of free oils, right? And $30. And I kind of took that mentality from the very beginning in my doTERRA business, and I played it all the way through. And I really live by those principles of, if it's going to break even, I am going to do that every single time, because it's either broke even or it's even giving me extra. So even if we're thinking about like this power of 3 bonus, right? Like, it might break even for me, but then how many other people have I given like a $50 bonus to, or how many people have got a $250 bonus from that? Does that make sense? So
yeah, and the other thing to remember is you not only break even, you get oils that you wouldn't have had before. So if I buy up, the most I've bought up for my 1,500, I think one time I did 800, but like, that's super rare. It was just because I had like incentives. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. But I mean, when you think about the math, like, it makes sense to do, you know, but you get, it's almost like doTERRA reimburses you for the oils that you purchase.
And then what can you turn around and do? So if you buy up, if you're just working on your $50 bonus and you buy up that $30 worth of oils, and you think of those oils instead of just like, okay, great, now I have $30 extra worth of oils that I get to keep, and you instead think of them like an investment, or as, here's something that I can use for promotions, here's something that I can be creative with this new set of oils that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten, right? you can do a whole bunch of different things and make those oils continue to grow you money. Does that make sense? Like, we can be so creative with extra oils that we get. We can either be generous with our team, or we can, sample out, do different sampling, or extra incentives, or, lots of different things, I think, with that.
Yeah.
So
And we
I have a question.
Percentage of our buy-up too. So
What? I didn't hear that. You did something to percentage of your buy-up?
We write off in our taxes.
Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Karen, what's your question?
So with the buy-up, because I'm not at that point where I need to do that yet. I sounds like I really want to be at that point. So you put orders under your people in your downline? Is that how that works?
So yeah. So Karen, it might look like if you have 3 people on your front line, 2 of them have placed $100 orders, and then you have one that maybe didn't place quite 100, right? They did sometimes the killer is $96, right?
Yes.
You need a $4 order. What it looks like is you have to contact that person and ask them. So I usually contact them and say, hey, it's Brittany, and I need to place an extra little order for doTERRA this month, and it would actually really help me out if I placed it underneath you. It would help give me an extra bonus, but you will get extra points on your loyalty rewards. Would you be okay if I placed an extra order underneath you? Of course, I'll use my own credit card, and I'll make sure I delete, all my information off when I'm done with that. How does that sound? Do you want some extra points?
Perfect. Okay. All right. That's what I thought. I just
that's the lingo that I use, and sometimes people are like, "What the heck?" Right? But usually, I'm not contacting people that I don't know or that I don't have some kind of personal relationship with. So I try to make sure that there's good communication that happens there. Because you have to get their password, and you need to log into their account and things like that.
Okay.
I think one time I was in a really big pinch, and the person's like, I don't want anyone logging into my account. Like I'm going to place extra orders on your account. No, I don't care to do that, right? But I understood that, and I really needed it. So I even gave her my credit card, and then she placed the order for me, and then we deleted it all at the end, and we did it over the phone, right? It's okay, whatever. But what it looks like for me typically is just they'll send me their password. I pop on real quick. I place an extra. I go in and place it as an extra LRP order, and then I delete everything. You can go in and delete your credit card off of there, and all your personal information off of there. So that's what it looks like.
And I had one more question, because I know I've heard both sides of things, but what are your thoughts on, and Bree, I know what your thoughts are, about business cards. Do you have any? Who has them on this call? Who do you have them? Do you use them? Are they beneficial? What are your thoughts on business cards?
I have business cards, but actually what I've been doing just personally is I've taken a picture of my business card, and I tell people, you know what? I've gone digital. And so I just grab their number. I say, let me just text you. So I get their number, and then I text them. Then I have their phone number, and it's a lot easier for us to connect that way. So that's what I've done in the past 6 months, as I've just said, I've gone digital. Even though I have a stack of business cards, my business cards aren't anything amazing. So I'm I put my face on the business card, so when they get a text from me, it's got my face and my information that way. But for me personally, I would at least have your face on the business card, and if you have some kind of catchy little thing about it, then you could do that too. Anyway, we'll kind of want to know what Bree's stance on business cards are now.
Yeah.
No, I think actually we're pretty similar, but I just tell people, I've had for so long, I've had businesses, and I just forget to have business cards, or I give them all out and then I forget to refill it. So I just got into a habit of saying hey, I'm all out of business cards, but do you mind if I give you a call, or I can shoot you a text so that way you have my number and you can just save it into your phone. So I've done this with like the checkout girl at Sprouts. Like I have used lemon oil every time I go to the grocery store because they always love that smell. And then she asked like, what's that smell? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's lemon essential oil. Well, where do I get it? They have it there, but hers didn't smell the same. But she said, or I said, I don't have business cards, but I can shoot you a text. I sell it. And I did. And so then when I saw her again, I'm like, hey, how are you? And then you just have to remember. And then she'd say, what did she say? Something like, oh my gosh, I never got that oil. I loved that aroma touch or whatever. And she said, I said, just, I can shoot you a text. I still have your number in my phone. Like I like the conversation, the personalization of it. Like that's how I do it.
I love how you excuse me, how you say I don't have any right now, because I've been asked a couple times, well, do you have a business card? I'm like, no. I'm just feeling kind of, I guess I could have worked on the response part of it better, because then I feel kind of foolish for not having one. But I'm like, but I prefer calling, so let me get your number, and we exchange numbers. But at the same point, I still felt like I set myself up for looking like a little bit of an idiot by saying no and then feeling embarrassed by it.
Yeah, and so you could even say like I'm going digital, or I'm all out, but I've got a digital copy or whatever, and you could create something really simple on Canva, right? That's seriously, it looks super nice, and that's your business card. And
I love it.
If it's saved in your photos as one of your favorite photos, I just click on my photo, and then you can message it. So I just do it that way. And if they're not willing to let me message them, then you know what? They're not really that interested, and I'm okay moving on. Like, if you don't want to actually talk to me, then let's not really do business together, right?
Right.
That's why people ask for business cards. They're not really interested in talking to you right now. Not always, but sometimes. Or it gets lost in the bottom of their purse, or, like business cards are just not that like up to date, I think.
I agree. Yeah, no, this has been very helpful. Thank you.
Isla, what do you think?
There's been a few people who asked me if I have a website, and obviously I do, but I'm like, I don't want them going to the doTERRA website because it's confusing. Like, right? Like, what are they going to do with all that information? They're not going to know what to get. So how do you usually respond to that?
Yeah, so I just tell them right away. I'm like, I have a website, and it's actually kind of confusing. What I typically do is, and then, I set up like a 15-minute conversation where we can chat about your health concerns and figure out which oils might be best for you, right?
No, I usually get do you have a website after I say I usually set up a conversation or a meeting, when I try to set an appointment and they're not up to it. They're like, well, do you have a website?
Then you could just give them the website. That's their way. That's their kind way of saying like, I'm kind of out. So you could say, yep, I've got a website. When do you think you could take a look at that by? So you could do the follow-up approach with that. You can say, yeah, let me shoot you that website. It's a little confusing, so I want to make sure I follow up with you. When do you think you could have looked at that by?
Okay, I like that. Thanks. Instead of just saying, no, I don't want to give it to you.
If you've never read Go Pro by Eric Worre, that language comes from his book, and he has like a very specific way that you can follow up with people, and I use that approach all the time still. I kind of forget about it that I'm like, have, used it for so long, but I find that helpful to just say, when do you think you could have done that? And then they're telling me, and then I've scheduled it in my phone. Like, okay, All right, you guys, oh my gosh, save any more questions for next week because it's our Q&A call, and I'm super excited for it. I've got some extra questions that people have been asking me, and I'm really excited for it. So I'm going to